Well, I want to remind you what we know how to do. When we finished putting all the endings in the blue file cabinet, we found out that you could do something called declining a noun. That you could take these 10 blue endings and you could put them in order on the back of any first declension or blue word that you may find. And doing that process, taking a blue word and adding these 10 endings in a specified order is called a declension. So we took rida out of the dictionary and wrote that word down in space number 1, and then all we did was add AE, AE, AM. We just added the endings in order. First we added the 5 singular endings, then we shifted over here and we added the 5 plural endings. All right, so that's old stuff. And we practiced, I think, the word villa right here. Now the question is, can I do this also for second declension nouns? And the answer is yes. Let's go find a second declension noun. All right? I'm going to do the word garden. So that's a word you know and seen. So here I go. Here's what garden looks like in the dictionary. H-O-R-T-U-S, comma, I, comma, M. And that's the word for garden. How do I decline the word garden, which is a second declension noun? How do I decline it? Well, it's analogous to the process I used for blue nouns. I'm just going to take the 10 endings, first the singular, then the 5 plural, and put them on the back of the word. So I got 10 answers, right? Anytime you do a declension, you got 10. So I'm going to number my paper. Quinque, sex, septame, octame, novame, decame. This is my first answer right here, hortus. So just write it down. Mr. Darden, how can you be so sure hortus is the first answer? Because I looked on the card. It's got a US in box number 1. So I'm just going to write down the US right there, hortus. Now, looking at the card, I can see the answer for number 2 is going to be an I ending. So I'm going to chop off the US and put an I on the back. So H-O-R-T-I. Chop off the I and put on an O. H-O-R-T-O. Chop off the O and add a U-M. So H-O-R-T-U-M. All right, I'm going to move a window out of the way on my screen so I can see what I'm doing. What's the last one? The last word ends in O in the orange or second declension. So I'm going to drop the UM and add H-O-R-T-O. I'm done. Come over here to the plural. This was the singular. Let's do the plural. Well, the endings are I, O-R-U-M-I-S, O-S-I-S. You're just adding those endings to the back of this word. So what do? Chop off the U-S, add my I. All right, here we go. H-O-R-T-I. O-R-U-M is the next ending. So chop off the I and add O-R-U-M. I-S-O-S-I-S. Chop off the ending above, put on the next one. Chop off the ending above, put on the next one. Chop off the ending above, put on the next one. We're done. Now you know how to translate this. From the blue card, we did some examples. We know that when we declined blue words, the top line doesn't have any special English word. You just say the. The second line says of. The third line says to. The fourth line has no special English word. And the last line, you just pick any preposition that you want. Here we go. Let's do it. The garden. The gardens. Of the garden. Of the gardens, plural. Just put an S on the back of it. Of the gardens. To the garden. I didn't write that very well, but I think you can make it out. Plus you heard me say it. To the garden. To the gardens. The garden. The gardens. Now, why didn't I put a special English word on this fourth level? Because when I look at my card, all it says on level 4 for numbers 4 and 9 is direct object. There is no special English word like of or to. Last line. Now, this is a little tricky. Remember, the last line on the blue card was the preposition line. And what that means is you're allowed to add any of these prepositions. By, with, from, in, on, at. So turn the card over. Boom. Prep. I'm allowed to add any prep I want on this last line. So I'm going to go with in. In the garden. In the garden. And there you go. We have declined a second declension now. Take this one real quick. This is the word for messenger. I'm going to write it over here. N-U-N-T-I-U-S, comma, I, masculine. This word means messenger. Okay. My pencil's not very sharp, so it's not doing a good job. Let me come up with a better pencil real quick. All right. There's my word. Go ahead and decline it. All right. You stop the film right now. You go ahead and write your answer out for it by putting on your orange endings on the back of the word. Here are your orange endings. And after you've declined it, turn the film back on and the answer will be waiting for you. I'm just going to write it out while you're writing. You turn the camera off and then you come back and check. Tres, quatuor, quinque. Nuntius. Nuntii. Nuntio. Nuntium. Nuntio. Sex, septem, octo, novem, decem. Nuntii. Nuntiorum. Nuntiis. Nuntios. Nuntiis. Let's do some translations. Top line does not have any special word associated with it. It's just telling me it's the subject. So I'm going to go the messenger. The messengers. The second line has the special word of associated with it. So I'm going to go with that now on my answers. Of the messenger. Of the, and I'm going to have to really crowd this in, of the messenger. Third line is to. I got to say to. So, to the messenger, and to the, and you got to make it plural. To the messengers, because the left-hand side is singular, and the right-hand side is plural. Then you've got the messenger, and you've got the messengers, plural. Finally, you have, I'm going to say with. With the messenger, and I'm going to say nuntiis with the messengers with an S. Okay, one thing I want to point out to you is that you may not have had two I's in some of your words. You need to have that first I there, and then the second I is the actual ending from the card. All I'm trying to say is that this is the permanent part of the word right here. So this permanent part of the word ends in I naturally, and you're just adding your endings. And if the ending's I, then you get this double I effect, which is correct. Okay, so you've just learned how to decline a second declension or orange noun. Bye-bye.